Okay, so to change the landing page for your Omeka.net, what you're going to need to do is go to Appearance, click on that, and depending on which theme you have, you might be able to do some configuration. A lot of you have chosen the Berlin theme, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens if you click on Configure Theme. And this is where, and I might be touching on a few other items that Shannon wrote down, but you can create a logo, and then you can upload that logo. So right now, if I'm going to go to this next tab, what's in this corner of my Berlin theme is the title of the website. The logo is going to replace that title, so be very careful. If you don't want that title to disappear, then don't put a logo, unless the title of the website is part of your logo, okay? So I'm going to show you just very quickly. I'm going to try to find a file that would be logo-ish. I'll just grab our standard Appalachian State University logo. And so it's the ASU bird logo grayscale. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. And then it displays what my new logo looks like. And then that's my title. So if I hit refresh, the logo has now replaced the title of the website. So those of you interested in a logo, that's fine, but just keep in mind that are you going to lose the name of your website? And that might be something that is a non-factor if you decide that your landing page is not going to be the featured item, recently added items, but rather it's going to be just a simple page landing where the title of the website can be big and bold and you're not worried about it. But if you are worried about losing that, just keep in mind that your logo will replace it. And the easiest fix is just make sure the name of your website's in the logo image that you upload. I'm going to go back. Then again, change this. Keep in mind that the recommended maximum width for this logo is 500 pixels. Anytime they give you sort of these parameters in Omeka, I would try as much as possible to adhere to it as much as you can. Have a bigger image, but you can resize it to where the maximum width is 500 pixels. Same thing for your header image. Caitlin was able to show us a few minutes ago for the Katrina New Orleans page, a flooded New Orleans, and so use that as a header image. But again, maximum height here is 100 pixels. So I may be looking at an image. I don't know what image I have here that I could use. I'll try to go to, I've got a picture here from Public Historian. It's a lot bigger than 100, so that might not be what I want. But let's just see what happens if I do a big image. It might be too big. And then hit Save Changes. Okay, so this is the image I uploaded. It's a graduate of the MA program in public history. And so I'm going to then go back and refresh. And so this is my new header image at the top of my website. It should be there if I go to just about any page, browse collections, browse items, my about page. It's the same header image. So be very mindful of that you may not want the same image on every page, but you do want to have a nice header image. Then I would consider doing an about page, making that your homepage, or create a homepage in Simple Pages. And for that page, you can do a header right at the top, like you import an image and then put all your text below it. But if you do a header image, it will appear across every page. Okay. So so when you go to your theme, you want to configure, and if you notice there's other things, you can put footer text. So if you want to put copyright, if you want to put your name as a creator to make sure that you're branding it. Some of you know about Creative Commons, and so that you can get instead of copyright, it's sort of like copy left. You're kind of telling people behind you, here's how I want you to use my website, or the permissions that I allow you to use. And so all you have to do is go to Creative Commons, look for their logos, and then you just kind of choose. I think it's really simple. Actually, I'm going to bring it up real quick because it might be worth you guys. We just did a copyright sort of readings. To go to Creative Commons, go to choose a Creative Commons license, and then choose what permissions you give people. Are you going to allow people to adapt your work? Yes. Commercial uses of your work? No. And then the license will change as you go through. And then I'm going to change it to adaptations no. So then my icons have changed. This is not a free cultural license. Have a web page, and then there's the symbol. And then you can copy that code. And then once you've copied this code, I can go either normal icon or compact icon. So actually I'm gonna do the compact. Copy it and then go back to my footer text. And I wanna put the source code in there, paste, hit okay, and voila, there's your license. So you can do your footer, you can control your logo and header image, and then here's display the copyright in the footer. You can do that, but this works as well, and you can add text to it. You can just put your name on there and the year. And then this is another item that Shannon had written down, but since I'm already on this page, do you want to display your featured item? If you don't, uncheck it. Featured collection, featured exhibit, okay? So I'm gonna feature all of them right now and hit Save Changes. Go back to my web page. And there's my Creative Commons logo at the bottom. Featured item, featured collection, and added items are there. But now I change my mind and go, nope, I don't want featured collection and I don't want featured exhibit. Hit Save Changes. Okay, hit refresh. And now my featured collection is gone. I never had a featured exhibit, so the only thing I have now is my featured item. Okay, and a reminder that if you want the featured item to rotate every time somebody refreshes your page, then you have to select out of your X number of items, let's say 35, you might only want 10 to be featured. You want all 35 to be public, but you only want 10 to be featured. Make sure that those are selected when you hit Save Changes to your items, and then only those 10 will rotate on this basis. So I hit refresh. This may be the only one that I have featured, and that's why there's no other pictures coming up. Okay, then that's what I'll double check. So all of that I've been talking about is only the configuration of your theme. I haven't even touched the regular appearance element of that. You also have an item file display if you want to have that. Homepage text. If you want to do a homepage that has specific text that will appear on your landing page. So I'm going to put sort of do that number, go back, refresh my home page, and then there's the text up here in the top left corner. So it depends on how much text you want to add. If you want to do the whole about page in that one section and keep your featured items and collections and all that, that's great. You can do that. All you have to do is go down here to the homepage text and type in everything about your website. Or you can create a separate page, which we'll talk about. So this is the Berlin theme configuration. Some of you have done seasons or minimal, so you'll have to look at the configurations within your theme.
Just as a public service announcement, I was under winter and I was trying to follow along. And if you have winter, there's no option for a header image. So if you want that, you may have to do the Berlin one.
No header image?
No, there was a logo option, but no header option.
Okay, and was that just winter?
I believe so. I didn't check the other seasons, but I assume it would be all seasons theme.
Try night. Night was added recently.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go over to, I'm going to leave the page. So that was under configure theme. The next one is navigation, and that is your menu. What do you want displayed on your menu? Anytime you create a page, it will show up there. Okay, so if you don't mind me, just hold on for a second. I'm going to add a new page. I'm going to go to my simple pages, add a page. I'll just call it test. And then test again. And I'm just going to hit save changes. I'm not going to do anything special. And then I go back to my appearance, navigation, and it didn't show up. So what happened? Well, I didn't make that page public. It's still private. So it will only show up here if this is made public. So I'm going to go back And I'm going to publish this page by checking the box on the right. Hit Save Changes. Then go back to Appearance and Navigation. And there's my test page. And because I did not specify that it would be a child of anything, it just shows up flushed left. But now let's say I want to make this the child of my About page, or even, yeah, let's just do that. So I'll just drag it over to the right. And that means that it is a child of the About. I could make it the first thing and just move it up in that order. Or I could change my mind later and just move it as a child to Browse Collections. You can kind of rearrange anything you want by clicking and dragging your page. Once you're ready with it, hit Save Changes. But before I do that, notice there's also a Select a Homepage one. So I could default to an About page as my homepage and not use the Browse Items Collections default that Omeka has. I can create my own simple page, make sure that it's in the order in the menu that I want, and then make that my home page. But right now I'm not going to do that. So I'll just go ahead and hit Save Changes. I'm going to go back here. Notice that I have under my drop-down Credits and People. So if I hit refresh, I now have a test page that was added there. Okay. And then if I do want to go back and make my About page my home page, I hit Save Changes. And now my About page is the home page. I got rid of all the stuff. So some of you are just kind of like, I don't want to have all the featured items and exhibits and collections. I just want to have a nice landing page. I like the one that you had with women in the world of dime novels. I like that idea. Then just create a simple page. Make it the way you want it, design it any way you want it, hyperlinks and everything. And then when you go to Appearance and Navigation, make that your home page. Okay. And then the third feature is the settings. And that one is if there's any metadata that you left empty and you don't want it to say no text, then leave this unchecked. If you check it, it's going to say no text. So I'm going to check it, hit Save Changes, go back here to my items. I'm going to go to this one here. And look at all the no text that comes down this way. Okay, so I don't want that. I don't want people to have to go all the way to the bottom to get to anything else that I have in my metadata. I want them just to see the relevant one. So I just uncheck that. Hit save. Refresh. And now I only have the metadata I filled in for that one. Okay. The last thing that I think I remember, at least off the top of my head, Shannon, if you can kind of just check to see where I'm going with this, is how do you get the image to be up high instead of the text?
That's the last question I have down. So.
And I think that is a theme setting. So I'm going to go back to my theme, configure it. And it's the last one under my theme for Berlin. Check this box if you wish to display your item files in full size at the top of the item page. So that way we see the picture first and then we get the metadata. So I'm going to uncheck it, meaning I don't want it that way. Hit Save Changes. Go back to this one where it's at the top and see if now it's at the bottom. And sure enough, it is. It's at the bottom. But notice that it's a smaller version at the bottom. And here it said, check it if you want to display your items file size in full size at the top of the page. So the part that I haven't figured out in Omeka.net is how do you preserve a smaller version at the top instead of the big one. But at this point, I think that's a minor fix and it's not really worth your hassle at this point. So I'm going to hit my Save Changes again, and hopefully my image now goes back to the top. And it's there. I just kind of double check to make sure that it does blow up and shows all the details I want it to do. All right. Shannon, what have I missed?
That was it. You covered it.
Wow. Effective time. We could get out of the session a little earlier tonight. Good. Are there, before I move off and do the second round, is there any other pressing questions that some of you have had technically that I can help you with?
Would you upload an audio file the same way you would like an image?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going to go to your item, right?
Mhm.
And then like if I want to add a new item and I have my file and I want to browse, remember your maximum upload is 128 megabytes, but that is plenty of size. You don't have to worry about it. But I went ahead to the omeka.net help page over here under media files. I click that over here. And for audio, they accept MP3, AAC, WAVE. I've never heard of OGG or AGA, Opus. So you have a lot of audio files, but the default usually is an MP3 file or an M4A extension or AAC extension. So you can look at, for videos, MP4, M4V is probably the best. Some of you might be using like Handbrake or something like that to rip a movie or a clip. Just make sure you're saving it in one of these video files. The easier thing is if you can save the video file in like Vimeo and then just embed the Vimeo video into your page or a link to it. I think that would be better. And we saw that in one of these websites where there was a video clip for one of the entries. So maybe it was the Women's Latina Project, I think had under browse exhibits, I think I saw some video clip. So there we go, that one. So that might be the best thing, is this is a YouTube clip. So just upload it to YouTube or Vimeo and then just embed it in there just the way I embedded the footer a while ago.
So, so for like a YouTube video like this, you embed it, you don't have to like download it and upload it as a file or anything. Okay. Because I had some YouTube videos that I couldn't figure out how to put them on Omeka. So
yeah, I think you just go to your I don't know why it keeps booting me out of my own website. When you're doing any of these, I'm going to go back to Cornwallis over here. When you're going to any of these, you have this use HTML box. And this is what I was getting at. If you put the code in here, you want to hit this little source code button, and then the embed code goes there. You paste it, right? That was what I was doing earlier with the footer. So if you go to any clip, I'm just going to go to Vimeo really quickly and just show you. I don't even know what I'm going to put in there, but we'll put something in there. I'll do a TED Ed video. A World Without Us. Let's go there. If you hit the gear button, that's not the gear button. We want the embed code. So share, and there's the embed code. So I hit the share button, embed. I'm going to copy all of this. Go back to my Cornwallis one, and under the description, I'll put like text, sorry, use HTML, text, 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 and then I'm going to go ahead and hit the source code, paste it in there, hit OK, and then it's embedded. And so if I hit Save Changes and go to the public page, I should see Cornwallis, and in the description, the video. Okay, so the main thing that you want to do is that when you're editing anything and you have a code that you're working with, use the HTML feature. You can also do bold, italicize, underline, but you want to hit the source code button, so the pop-up window there, and you just paste the code in there. Hit OK, and then save, and that's how you embed it. The other thing I was going to mention to all of you before we get back to our presentations is if you create like a sources page, you could do it on your about page, or you could create a separate sources page. But I'm going to go to this credits page here. And what I did was I went to Zotero. I highlighted all the books that I want to put in my works cited page, copied it, or created bibliography from items in Zotero. Okay, copied it to the clipboard, came here under sources, made sure I was in HTML, and then I hit paste, and it formatted everything. Even with the indents, so it was really nice. The titles of the books are all italicized. So the easiest way to do that is make sure your HTML editor is checked so that you see the bold, italicized, underline, all that. Do sources or works cited, hit enter, and then click right over there and hit paste from your Zotero, and boom, it's all right there and formatted very nicely, okay? If you don't do it in the HTML check, the editor checked, it's not gonna do everything's gonna be flush left and none of the book titles are gonna be italicized. So it will preserve the style that Zotero recognizes from Chicago Manual of Style. And then at the bottom, when you get here, you can hit enter, and I'll just kind of delete this part here. You can hit enter and then say, well, I want to have a separate section saying where I got all my images from. So then all I would do is hit insert, a horizontal line, and then down here I can, well, that's not where I wanted to go. I think I should have. Let's do something like here, images courtesy of, and then list Wikimedia Commons, United States Library of Congress, Prints and Photographs Division, the Ira B. Smith collection at the University of Kansas, whatever it is that you want to put your sources for your images here. So I'm just going to put Wikimedia Commons, and then click over here above it, and then go ahead and insert my horizontal line. So it kind of separates things a little bit. So that's an easy way of doing that. Notice that there's other things you can embed here. You can use embed an image, embed a link, embed a media, etc. View source code, so you can do anything in that simple pages that you want to kind of work with will be the text for your website. You can design it any way you want. You can even insert a table if that helps you with data. More formats. Again, there's the code. So, you can go to code view.
I have a question with the sources.
Mm-hmm.
So how will I cite, like a lot of mine are newspapers.
Right.
So will I just like cite from what website I got that newspaper?
On the item page or on this page?
On this page for sources, like.
Well, the sources are going to be mostly your secondary history and literature, academic journals, books, things like that.
Oh, okay.
For your primary sources, you could put images courtesy of Wikimedia Commons, and then you could put periodical-based databases, and then make that bold, and then you can just kind of list them there by bullets or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was one way. In other publications I've seen, before you get to the secondary literature, they might say primary sources, and then say all, and then just list the newspapers that were consulted in what years.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with a lot of foreign language newspapers, and so they'll say things like that.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just
They'll
confused.
list all the archives that they researched. Then they'll have
Uh-huh.
another section and list all the periodicals and magazines, and then they'll have the secondary literature at the end.
Okay. So the sources on top is secondary literature.
No, it doesn't matter the order as long as you differentiate.
I was just making sure that's what that was. Okay, got it.
Along with that, with the sources, do we need to put, so like, if we have a really great description and we've used secondary sources to like come up with that analysis part, do we need to, with each item, do we need to like have a citation for what secondary sources we used, or do we just put it all on a source page?
No, your metadata is about the item itself. You're treating the item as a primary source, so you don't need to list the secondary literature that spoke to that source.
Okay.
That would be on your works cited page or your sources page, whatever you want to call it, bibliography, whatever.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, like if you have like an excerpt, a couple of pages scanned from a book, you found like a U.S. history or U.S. classroom textbook from 1898, and you want to show 2 pages dealing with physical education, then sure, you can list under source the name of the book and then even put the page numbers in parentheses or stuff just to kind of note that. But then in this page, you would just note that entire textbook as either a primary source, probably a primary source, unless you found a modern history monograph that speaks about early American textbooks. Okay, good questions. That's a lot of tutorial. So so if there's any other things that pop up, we can still keep a record. And at the end of the second half of the presentations, we can move on to the next one. All right, thank you, Caitlin. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the back end of it. Madeline, would you be willing to start us off? And then Jeff, do you mind being on the on deck circle?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Do you want to stop recording or?
Yes, thank you for that reminder.